up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Artsy AF. In this week's episode, we have the one and only Bobby West, aka Erothyme. Bobby is a music producer, and his catalog is quite prolific. He has something to the tune of 26 releases, I think he said in this podcast, over the last several years. He's been making music since he was 12. Just an all-around stellar dude. And we really enjoyed this conversation with him. Couple things new about the podcast. We are receiving a few trickles of Ask Us Anything questions. So thank you to maybe the 4 or 5 people who've sent those in already. And we added a little way that you guys can support the podcast. In each description that you'll find, there'll be a website where you can donate, and that will help us out tremendously. Yeah, what else is there to say? Hope you guys enjoy it. And follow Erothyme on Bandcamp or SoundCloud, or even, Facebook and Instagram. But if you want to listen to his music, Bandcamp is the number one way to go. But whatever streaming platform you fancy, get on there, give him a listen. That's Erothyme, the great Bobby West.
We'll just pick it up
What's up, Bobby?
whenever.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
How'd it do?
Pretty good. I'm trying to figure out these headphones here. Here we go.
Yeah, you gotta put them in those holes in your ear.
Oh, they go in your ear.
Yeah.
I've never seen these things. What do you call them?
They're called headphones.
Earbuds?
Got some dank buds.
Bud.
You ever put weed bud in your ears? You actually have like blood vessels that you can get like stoned if you just put nugs like in your ear.
Yeah, totally.
Cram it really hard.
Dude, like really far in
if
there.
you like get all the earwax out first.
Yeah. You don't want to get it caught in your earwax.
Yeah. You just scrape it out with like a thumbtack.
And then you smoke it and you get fucking stoned, bro. Deep. All right, so we've just dove right in. How you doing, Bobby? Good to see you, man.
Doing pretty good. It's good to see you guys too.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby, aka
Erothyme.
Erothyme with the TH.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was calling it Erothyme, but
I've heard so much worse.
Does that mean something?
It means some stuff for sure. It comes from a word that Aldous Huxley came up with. Phanerothyme.
Okay.
Phan, Greek root having to do with vision, seeing. Eros being love, creative energy. Thymia being state of mind. Phanerothymia meaning a state of mind in which love is visible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's
When I
amazing.
took the visible part out and made it a shorter word. A little bit more general.
What book is that from?
It's not from a book. It was from a letter to Humphrey Osmond.
Ah, nice. Mm-hmm. Wow, deep cuts.
To make this mundane world sublime, take 0.5 gram Phanerothyme.
Awesome.
And Humphrey Osmond wrote back to him, to fathom hell or soar angelic, just take a pinch of psychedelic. It was the first time anyone had ever used the word psychedelic.
So it was kind of like between that and Phanerothyme?
Yeah. Well, I mean, according to those two, I think,
right.
But one of those words obviously was a little more catchy.
Well, I'm glad that you're bringing that strain along into our consciousness, I don't know.
As if it wasn't already there.
Well, the word, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that people make up words and they come from somewhere. And
Yeah.
How long have you been producing under?
I've been using that name, I think, since 2007 or 8, probably 2008.
Okay. So it's, yeah, you've been doing it for a minute, huh?
Yeah, I was doing it for I think like 6 years before that.
Oh, what was there like an origin point of starting on the journey of being Erothyme? An experience or?
Oh man. Damn, I mean, like, you know, like picking that name was just something that kind of just like happened, but like over the course of, you know, I don't know, several years of like trying out a few different names and everything, just making music in the basement, being a teenager and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, I feel like I like always was really interested in electronic music, but there were definitely like distinct points where like I realized that was what I really wanted to explore, like hearing certain artists like Aphex Twin for the first time. And there was a moment in 2003 where a friend of mine, his father picked up a copy of an outdated digital audio workstation at like a pawn shop, thinking like it looked like it would be kind of like a fun video game for his kid or something. And my friend let me install it on my computer too, and for a little bit we both like made beats, but he like moved on to some other stuff and I just kept doing it, so
clicked. Stuck.
Yeah,
that's super rad.
Awesome.
How old were you in 03?
12.
Oh wow. Wow, dude. Yeah, you're so prolific, man. You have at least 6 or 7 albums.
Oh man,
full albums out. Like,
yeah. The 7th one came out 4 years ago, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's one of those things. At I think release, if you count EPs and stuff, I'm at release number 27 right now.
Wow.
Dang. But what I'm, you know, really looking forward to is seeing like what happens with the next generation. The fact that these kids have like beat making extracurricular activities at school when they're like 10 years old. And
it's a legitimate path, you know, that's been carved out. It's
kind of amazing.
Yeah. That's cool to be psyched about seeing what the future generation has in store.
Because they're going to blow us out of the water.
I know, like, right?
Guaranteed. It happens every time.
Yeah, it's like it's this like exciting and scary thing. You're like, oh,
yeah,
I'm not going to be shit. But also, you have a certain wisdom and understanding of the subtleties of creating music and playing gigs and all that gives you a leg up.
Just experience, but also, I mean, not taking certain things for granted. Of course, there's a million things that I do take for granted that somebody who started doing it maybe 10 years before me wouldn't. But but it's a whole different perspective. I think every generation is and everything. But
So Andrew and I are painters. We haven't had a musician yet on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, what is the process of making a song?
Like, it can be so many things.
Yeah, like maybe what's a way it can go?
What is your process? Do you, obviously, from hearing your music, I don't think that you maybe do it the same every time.
That's it. That's really it. Is just that there isn't one like sanctified starting place.
Yeah.
And it could be like an idea that comes to you when you're daydreaming that you like feel like you have to like replicate somehow, and you just come at it with whatever you can hang on to from what you had stuck in your head. I've even had woken up from dreams with ideas in my head and just gone right to the computer and everything. But sometimes you're just experimenting with a sound or just digging through sounds and something catches your ear and you just go from there. Or sometimes you write lyrics and you have even if the song doesn't end up even having words in it, you just get melodies in your head if you have music going through your head all day. And that could be a starting point, or you could be just thinking of a rhythm. You could just be at home and that could be, just what goes with this. And a lot of the time it really is an associative game, more than anything, is that music has sometimes more to do with how parts fit together than exactly what those parts are. Although both are important. So, you can really start anywhere, and sometimes the part that I start with doesn't even end up in the finished track.
Yeah. Nice.
Huh. Yeah, it just leads you to a different sound to explore. And are you working on 2 songs at a time or 20 or
20 fucking million. Yeah. I can't keep track. I have to every day. I have to like dig through folders, and every day I remember things I forgot existed that I spent long stretches of time on.
Yeah. Do you ever find something from like a couple years ago that you forgot about? And
constantly, like more than ever. The more it's such a like runaway, like just like self-multiplying process where like the music is constantly like just like breeding like they just ideas from years apart and from like different seasons of life and everything will just click if you let them. And for a long time, like I thought that I had to like approach songs. There's no one right way, of course, to write a song, just like we were talking about. But I thought for a long time, I like in order to like respect the song maybe, or there's something about the sanctity of the song that was lost if I didn't just like do it all in one project, and like make it like one like thing on its own that was kind of in a vacuum. But more and more the songs that I start are made out of pieces that are taken out of things that I've already done, and some of those things are things that were finished and released, and some of those were just things that like happened in 20 minutes one day that I forgot about and then stumbled on 5 years later.
That's cool. That reminds me of like just the fractal nature of time, I guess.
Oh man.
To just put it bluntly, yes. Like how some periods in your life will line up strangely with other periods in your life from 7 years ago or 4 years ago or something like that.
100%. Yeah. It's all about being sensitive to that kind of a thing. And I sometimes think about like, because music is such a like an emotional, like cathartic thing, a lot of the time it ends up getting heavily associated with like what you're feeling at the time that you're making it. So when like parts of your life repeat, you start getting deja vu and nostalgia for like certain times. It's like the time to like pick up a song that was started then, or something like that, and like you can kind of create this. I like to think of it as like this like crystalline structure across time that.
Wow, what a trip.
Yeah.
You have a feeling and an experience. You live life, you gain some wisdom, and you have these experiences, and then you find yourself in that same state again. Right. But with a brand new set of ears or eyes.
Yeah.
And tools.
Values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you like so you make the song and then you have to like master that shit or make it sound good. Did you like take courses on how to do that, or
just like years of doing it and talking with people who know more than me, and comparison across. Like I definitely wouldn't claim I'm very good at mastering, but a lot of the time I end up working on my own tracks in the end, just to like minimize the budget on the project and be sure that I'm happy with the result, regardless of whether it's necessarily like technically the most flawless it could possibly be. But there are other times that I've definitely relied on other people for that. Like Anthony Thogmartin mastered the last album, and he did a great job. I was really glad to get him on board. But there's something about having an unbiased like extra pair of ears that has an idea of what you're going for too, but also hasn't listened to the songs thousands of times and gotten super attached to.
You can get kind of lost in there, can't you?
So much, like to the point that you can't even hear things that are just screaming in your face because your brain is automatically filtering out stuff that it thinks it already knows about. Like it's like the feeling of thinking you feel like you can't hear something for the first time twice. And that's why why repetitive music isn't even really repetitive when you get right down to it, because hearing something for the 32nd time verbatim is different from hearing it for the 14th time.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
Whoa.
And I mean, it's just like another tile on the mosaic, but how many are there, and how long is that pattern going on for, and what's it wrapping around, and
it's cool how music and art and other creative endeavors tend to reflect life like that. Like you never, if you see something, it's the same way, like for instance, in my mind, I've met you and we've hung out plenty of times, and so I was like, oh, Bobby's coming over. there's probably a lot of things that are different about you that I can see and probably can't even see also. But to you, my mind, or to me, I'm sorry, my mind has just compressed you into this thing called Bobby. Which is, of course, when you look into each person, as in this example, it's a whole universe unto itself, which maybe each sound is a whole universe unto itself.
Oh, yeah. Each image as well.
That's funny.
I think we've all come a long way since we met.
For sure, man.
Have you guys known each other for a while?
A long time.
Didn't we meet in Georgia?
We met in Georgia at Impulse Festival in 2012. Yeah.
June?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah. It was right around my birthday, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember you, here's one thing that's changed about you. Yeah, at that time, I think you had a leg injury of some kind, and you were kind of walking around with a cane.
That has happened a few times in my life, actually. It's one of the, I wonder if it's allegorical or something.
Is it like a recurring injury? Or?
Oh yeah, but like different, it could be different legs, and I don't know. I don't want that to be like,
your
for the rest
story.
of my story. But yeah, I've experienced that quite a bit. But yeah, that time actually it was because on the way to the festival, I basically walked across the city of Seattle with all my gear because I like missed the bus, but I was in a hurry or something like that, and like pulled my ankle or something, and it was like on the way to the airport or something, and I don't know. So I was limping that weekend for sure. Oh, the hazards of being a independent free agent musician.
Yeah, we all have to lug a lot of shit around.
All right.
Yeah.
There's these DJs with a thumb drive in their pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
so lucky.
What do you perform with? Do you have like a lot of equipment or?
It varies. I mean, depending on what's happening on that particular occasion, because there's like this whole spectrum that goes all the way from just like playing tracks in the right order at the right time, all the way to like coming up with material on the fly and maybe even looping things or like creating spontaneous combinations of songs without even planning on it ahead of time and stuff like that. Which like one side of that is more appropriate for times when it's like, just really about just having a dance party or something, and not about like, hey, everybody look
Exploring.
at me. Yeah. I mean, or that too, like, there's, but there's a time when, if your role is just like to be the selector for that moment for like what the airwaves are going to do, then in that case for me, it makes more sense to just use my laptop and like a MIDI controller just a small footprint of like two pieces of equipment that like one of them is I'm picking songs with, and the other one I'm just like doing transitional effects and filters and stuff with, and that's it. But then for a lot of things, I don't know, I like to play the keyboard. Yeah. Have a few little synthesizers.
Keyboard, boy.
Oh man.
So good.
Yeah. And
it's like that.
It's exactly like that. Maybe with a little bit more like
Yeah, dude. So you wrote this last album just with your voice? No. But yeah, I really like. So you improv basically
a little bit.
Sometimes.
Just to, I guess to like complete that thought, to loop it back around was in that case there could be a synth on the table that's maybe plugged into my sound card. I've got a few other like random instruments, sometimes a talk box, which is like a way of like putting the sound from your instrument into a tube that you then put in your mouth in order to like produce a like Daft Punk kind of style or like Peter Frampton kind
Zapp
of style.
and Roger.
Like robot singing voice that's like singing the notes you're playing on your instrument or whatever. I don't know. So I mean, I just picked up an Iwi. I haven't like used it live yet. It's an electronic wind instrument.
Ooh.
But I'm planning on like busting that out soon.
Right.
Looking forward to it. I'm trying to like expand. Well, I've taken the clarinet on stage a few times and stuff, but overall, like it could become like a sprawling mess of things just plugged into each other.
Sure.
Like there's, been times where I've like covered a table with just stuff, but other times when it's just been a computer plugged into a mixer or something. So it could really be so many things. And I think that, you know, there's a time not to overcomplicate things and just play some music. And there's also a time when, you know, like the spontaneity really adds to the experience. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's, so it sounds like you, if I have this right, did you start out producing music first and then learning how to DJ second?
Yeah, I mean, actually, definitely that. And also, I'd say on a certain level, like by the standards of many people who consider themselves professional DJs, I probably don't even know how to DJ still, but I know how to pick tracks and blend them in Ableton and everything. And, you know, like which songs I want to hear after which songs and everything like that. I mean, I guess in spirit, that's what that is. But what DJing is yeah, playing the right song at the right moment. But I was definitely making music for several years before I ever went to a party where people were playing electronic music, and it had so much more of a personal meaning to me than like it wasn't so much about like like playing for a crowd or even a sound system back then. It was just for like my headphones or for my computer speakers and for me to enjoy and play with my friends, you know?
Trip out to your own sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In that way, it was a more personal, like, inward experience. And a lot of those songs, I mean, sometimes I go back and like find parts of those songs and then incorporate them in things I'm making now, because there's something about them that I'll never get back. But also I had no idea what I was doing with like the spectrum of audio. I had no idea how to make something sound good on a, you know, set of speakers as the size of a car at that time, you know?
Yeah.
But,
there's something really cool about that when you're so naive and you don't know anything. Some of those sounds or images you can pull out, how beautiful and pure they are, but you don't have the technical expertise yet, and you get to breathe new life into them.
In some ways, that's like the most authentic place to be as an artist. And if you're really doing it right, I think you always like at least have like one foot in the part of yourself that is still trying to figure stuff out.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
The moment that you're learning something and something happens, you've created like one of the most authentic things you can create.
Yeah.
As soon as you're like, I got this, that shit's gonna be stale.
Yeah, totally.
Ugh.
You got to keep exploring that unknown.
So like, I'm really fascinated about the aspect of producing music and then bringing it out and playing it for a crowd. Like it just seems so interesting to me, because being alone and making all these sounds, but then knowing how to take those and like read the crowd and know how to, like when we went to that Threda art show you were playing at for their, like, I guess it was the grand opening, but Blair and I were just remarking recently about how it was like we went in there and there wasn't many people in there yet, and it wasn't the grand opening, it was something, but anyways, it was we went in there and there wasn't a lot of people in there yet, and you were playing music, and it was softer, it wasn't so loud, really chill music, and it was so easy to talk to. And then as the room started getting more crowded, the music started getting louder, there was some like more energy behind the beats, and it was so seamless. It was in some strange way you almost didn't even notice the music, because it was just,
even though it made such a big
exactly.
Yeah.
And that was so cool. Like it must take a while to learn and to like read a room and a crowd. And
I mean, it's also a kind of a chicken or the egg thing with music sometimes too, because like unless you're right in people's faces about it, it's interesting how like while on one hand you can respond to what a group of people is doing, the kind of vibe they're putting off, and like, you know, like the amount of energy in the room, the amount of excitement in the room, and, you know, play music that follows that. And on the other hand, if you like are really sensitive to it, you can kind of like nudge things in a certain direction too, where like people are, I mean, I know I sure am subconsciously affected by the music that I'm hearing at that moment. And if the music is slowly escalating, like I'll get more and more excited without even realizing the music's doing something to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens, you know, or songs that are like, you know, have like kind of like an eerie like paranoid or even just like kind of dreary edge to them or whatever on like will be, you know, somewhere in an album that I have gotten into listening to a lot, and it'll take me like 3 listens to the album to realize that like that song was the reason why I like got really like uncomfortable for 2 minutes, like this time and last time, and you know, but I thought it was like what was going on in my life, and maybe it was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's
You're
music.
responding to it or something.
Yeah, I mean, music can help bring that stuff to the surface, but yeah, I mean, we're going off the rails a little, but that whole thing about just responding to the energy of the moment. I think a lot of people starting out have a tendency to like want to just like be really like pushy with what they want to like expose people to. Check this out.
Yeah.
You know?
Move, motherfucker.
Yeah. This is all original beats. I have this like image of like a you know, like DJ with a sample pad who's been like making beats for like 6 months or something that like maps like the words all original beats on like these little buttons, just like playing them for an hour
Rhythmically.
all original beats. I don't know, for me every time that kind of bander just like snaps me out of it. I had like some really like amusing high contrast experiences of like watching somebody playing music like talk on the mic entirely too much, and like having the next person like plug in and pick up the microphone, say hello, and then play music for the next 60 minutes without saying anything. And
That's my preferred.
Why is it so offensive when somebody playing music talks too much? You're like,
because it's not about them like yelling into the microphone
it's
or
kind
trying
of like
to get
standing
you
in front of your painting. You know?
I guess,
If you were, if you were like carnival barking in front of your painting, like everyone come over here, and everyone's like, well, you're still yelling and we can't see the painting.
I mean, it's like music is the like art form that permeates the space that you can't escape even if you want to. So if you need to like tell people to pay attention, you're doing it wrong. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
I would have to agree.
It's true.
And then anytime like a performer that has lyrics and stuff has the whole like, I want to see your hands, you know, like
Don't tell me what to do.
It's like one or two of those is okay, well placed, but like if you're doing it for 5 minutes, like I saw Diplo once, or Major Lazer.
Ooh, we're name dropping now.
Major Lazer. And the dude just like the whole time was just like hands up. I was like, I gotta go.
like telling you,
I feel like I'm being detained or something.
Yeah, no offense to them.
That is funny because it's like a celebration that are like they're instructing you how to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's like the instructions that you would see on disposable cameras back in the day.
To the left.
Like you're like, I turn this wheel and then I press the button down. Amazing.
Yeah. No, what's that song called? I can't remember if it's the Cupid or the Cuban Shuffle.
The Cupid.
Cupid Shuffle.
Wow.
I was like, whenever we had our wedding, I was like, we cannot play that fucking song. That shit gets me so aggravated. It's like, quit telling me what to do, man. Let me just have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Slide to the right.
Cha-cha now, y'all. Is that how it goes?
Something like that.
Whatever. You should do a remix of that
We'll do
song.
it.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
No, Jade Cicada already beat me to it. Yeah. It's okay. I'm glad he took one for the team. I would never do that, actually. That song pisses me off so much.
Nice. You guys are bonding over shitty wedding songs.
That's a funny thing, actually. Like with close friends, how you bond on what you hate, like dislike
as much as what you like.
It's a funny thing. Like sometimes with good friends, like in the middle of a conversation, like we gotta like, can we maybe just say something positive?
Yeah,
it's a weird thing sometimes where you like you positively connect on being like, yeah, this thing sucks, right? Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely. That's definitely a slippery slope. I think is what they call those, and you can just get into this like, oh, this other thing sucks too. Yeah.
You know who else sucks?
You know what else really pisses me off? But yeah.
But you could also go completely out the other side and just like completely refuse to like say anything negative.
Right,
whatsoever
exactly.
About anything.
Yeah, you don't want to be
possibly worse,
authoritarian
actually.
about your positivity.
Oh man,
That's definitely more annoying, really.
You are
true.
required to behave in a way which is only acceptable when done voluntarily.
Good vibes only.
So anyway, Bobby, do you have
Hey, look what we're doing. We're talking shit about something.
We are. It's fun though,
it is fun.
So,
You just don't want it to get pathological, I think.
well, you know what's really dumb? Andrew's earbuds over there.
Yeah.
I just got
He's
one
got
in,
one in.
one out.
Looks so cool.
Yeah, he looks like he
Swaggy
thinks
earbuds.
he's so cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
there is something to
you're
that.
right.
It's like, well, when you do bond over something you don't like, like you're curating reality in some way. Like when you make music, you got to be like, oh yeah, this sounds like shit. Let me get rid of this.
Oh yeah,
It's not working.
actually
so you can clear
more,
space for
more
goodness.
than anything. Actually,
It's mostly bad ideas.
Yeah.
Well, it's mostly carving out from infinite possibilities. It's like, oh, thanks. It's like mostly like reducing the number of possibilities, because I don't know, that's one of the biggest roadblocks that people run into producing electronic music too. Is just the number of possibilities.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Boy.
the fact that you can literally basically sample or synthesize anything you can imagine, and that your responsibility is to select a manageable number of ideas that somehow relate out of the infinite list of everything that's ever been recorded or anything that you could possibly put together. So in that way, like, there's a lot more no's than yeses, but it's just one of those, like, was that whole fucking like that whole thing about like the light bulb and the discovering 100 ways to not make a light bulb.
Oh, right,
before you make a light bulb.
Or Formula 51 is actually the 51st try or something like that. I'm sure I'm fucking that up. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you can't just go with everything all at once. And it's almost like you're curating a set of sounds or a set of colors and shapes in our case.
Yeah, we have
to just fit together in this whatever allotted time or space.
Yeah, and the allotted time or space could even be like, your whole body of work and your whole lifespan.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, like, you can't physically create every idea.
Right.
You just can't.
Nope.
They're just like ideas are cheap,
Yeah, exactly.
especially if you know a few things, especially if you know a few things.
That's interesting. I mean, there's infinite ideas, and it's like, there's a sense of like, there's so many good ideas out there, and you have good ideas and you manifest them, but you're like, oh, but what about this one and that one, and you're hoping you catch the right one, or
And I've got a sneaking suspicion that ideas are only as good as their context too. I mean,
definitely.
There's so many ideas that would have been good 50 years ago, or might be good next week, but might not be good right now.
Wow, so you might stumble upon a genius idea, but it's just
The wrong time.
Yeah. Yep. I feel like that's what I do for a living.
You mean like the wearing one earbud that I just criticized?
Hey,
before,
man,
but it's
like
the future.
you just wait 20 years from now, everybody's just gonna have one dangler and one
They're gonna be like,
earbud
Bobby
all
puts
up.
both his earbuds in. What a dork.
What do you need to hear out of both ears or something? Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I'm just ahead of my time, bro. Just kidding.
real trendsetter over here.
So I have a question. You mentioned Aphex Twin already.
Yeah, I did.
What other musical
I guess I'm
influences?
the first person to name drop in this.
What other influences, either musical or, I mean, they can even be literature, like you were talking about with Huxley, or art. What kind of other art influences your art?
Oh man, it's like, such a it's like such a broad question, and also like the answer could be different on different days, but it's also one of those questions you just like have to ask, you know. I mean, there's like a lot of music really has inspired me in a lot of ways. I really like Boards of Canada. They're amazing. I really like the books. Definitely like a whole like oddball collection of just different like styles of music that aren't necessarily things that I do, you know.
Yeah.
Which is kind of refreshing sometimes, just to like cleanse the palate.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, I get really inspired, sometimes more inspired from looking at visual art than from listening to music, because like with music, listening to music, I have a tendency to like get like more concrete, like specific ideas, like technique wise, about like how I would accomplish something, you know. Like my like technical mind will start working and trying to reverse engineer things. But when I'm like looking at an image that gives me a feeling or something, it's a little bit more abstract. And I have a tendency to think about music like pretty visually anyway, and it can be that way quite often. I mean, you're like working within like a metaphorical space, and you have like different tones to use in different arrangements, and it can get very geometrical, but a lot of the time, you know, there's just this like subconscious response to like either like something I see, or to like, you know, a feeling that I might have on a particular day or particular night, or something that will like manifest in my mind as like kind of a musical tonality that I want to explore. Like if I feel this way, or if like, you know, if I've just been looking at the moon rising over a pine tree and it just like looked a particular kind of way and like hit me in a certain kind of way, then I'll like, you know, next thing I know, like want to have like a bunch of reverb and a tone like, and you know, I'll go from there. But just, you know, talking about inspiration, I guess, about, you know, how it can come from so many places. But yeah, I do gather a lot of ideas from other music too, but I do have a tendency to kind of binge listen to my own like unreleased stuff for long periods of time and try to become like really insular about it, and deepen the fractal to you know, find the pockets within the pockets of like things that just like need to come through in these, you know, songs that are waiting to be born. So that's a huge part of my process.
That's like I think the way you pull inspiration is, I relate a lot to how you're describing it. I think that's, so you choose the path of a musician. So your experiences and the way it affects you, it manifests as musical ideas. And whatever I go through, no matter what it is, it's all influencing, and it results in pictures and images to create.
It's a vocabulary.
And like a comedian, they go through the world and they see the humor in their experiences. It's funny, like asking, what's your inspiration? Because like we get asked that all the time,
and we joke
as an
about
artist, and you're like, oh, you're asking me what my inspiration is again. But then I also had that question though, because you're on a different path. It's like, what inspires you? And you're like, oh yeah, same thing.
It's an obligatory question, right? I mean, you could answer it just by saying yes.
Well, I was careful to use the word influence. I think.
Influence.
Yeah, it's the same. It's kind of the same thing. But I think a lot of painters, especially in our community, are mostly inspired by music.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what you were saying. It's like you're pulling just the heart of what it is that you want to portray out of a different medium.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, like helps you to not let like the technical side of trying to like replicate something eclipse the actual like feeling that you're trying to capture.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. It's an interesting thing about how it's become quite popular for painters to perform at the same time as producer is playing music, and that we both are like pull inspiration from each other. You know?
Yeah,
Totally.
It's like-
feedback loop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And it's also pretty hilarious too how both of those things are like in this case, like in the case of like a producer who's like playing music over a sound system that could not physically possibly have like happened entirely spontaneously in one moment most
Right.
of the time. On stage next to a painter who is painting something that probably in most cases, although not all, took longer than and will take longer than the duration of the show to actually come together, you know?
Yeah.
And yet it's not like, you know, that necessarily anymore that like the entirety of the process of something being created is even like the show anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's more
Right.
like, you know, like just having the right thing for the right time and being able to like respond to the moment to some degree. Like, you know, if you're live painting and you're getting ideas from a song, and, you know, if you're playing music and you're getting ideas from the room or from, you know, from a painting that's happening right next to you, even I
Yeah.
can, you know, look at things and play the keyboard. Sometimes it's more fun than looking at my fingers and playing the keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Randall touched on it a little bit on the podcast we did with him. Is, you know, in those moments you get that like a rush or a feeling, and you do that master stroke or you do that master transition or change up, and then it's like the legacy. You like what your creative world is like this continuation, this accumulation of finding those master strokes, or like that that one moment to dive in and like do that damn thing. And it, you know, it's this ongoing, continuing exploration.
Yeah. Yeah. Being sensitive to those moments is really important. Like, they're not all created equal, but all ideas have potential, but they have to be like imbued with like, I don't know what it is. Something that just comes through at a certain moment.
Yeah. It's like where it's almost where your personality kind of disappears. You get good at kind of letting yourself get out of the way, and to let that thing flow through you, maybe. I don't know.
It certainly can help.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you have a mission,
Oh man.
maybe in your life or with your making your music? Is there?
That's a great question. I mean, like, I'm not sure if I have like any like grandiose statement to make at the moment, but definitely like to keep exploring, keep learning, keep growing, just, you know, becoming, both in music and in life, better version of myself. You can do that day by day, and that's not too much to ask of yourself. So, keep exploring those edges, and hopefully, keep making more and more compelling art, and, you know, make some kind of positive ripple.
Oh yeah.
And I think that, that's at least enough of a mission for me to chew on at the moment.
Yeah. Sounds pretty solid.
Yeah.
Do you think, you know, like saying you hope to become a better person, better artist, do you think creating music has made you a better person?
In some ways, yeah, and in some ways, no, you know? I mean, I'm sure y'all can relate, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Definitely.
there's definitely, you know, ways in which making art, like, reveals you to yourself, and that can be really important, and changes your values, too, and in some ways can, like, make them less superficial sometimes, depending on you, I guess, but or just change the way you look at, you know, interaction and at like feelings and at life, and having a place to put your feelings and all that stuff. It's like really helpful, probably good for you. And then, you know, there's all these ways in which by being so focused on your process, you like, you know, have to like, you know, like not have time for things and for people, and like get tunnel vision and get all self-absorbed, and that can be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to sacrifice a lot of things. Mostly time.
Managing to do that in a way
relationships
where you like don't actually become like completely bitter and jaded and everything. Yeah, that's one of the challenges.
Got to be careful, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it can get away from you. Like,
Yeah, totally.
It's the creative path. It's funny how it's liberating, but it's also scary. You could get on a weird tangent and just become miserable if you don't play your cards right.
Yeah,
It's a golden set of chains.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do become bitter. A lot of people just, I don't know, I guess don't have what it takes. I don't know.
Is that even it? You know,
Yeah,
it's so
or
weird.
maybe it's like
'Cause
they weren't lucky enough, or
It's like intuitively, I feel
their
like
ideas weren't in the right context.
oh man, yeah, we're at the right time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes what's fueling it too. Maybe if it's like all just about yourself
Yeah.
creatively, then
Right.
you'll get sick of yourself.
Pop star syndrome a little bit.
Or you're on a art vengeance quest.
Oh man, yeah. If you're just like motivated by spite and
Yeah.
yeah, which I guess somebody has to. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I think it could probably start out that way, but if you don't, again, explore and learn and grow and tap into the unknown, including unknown parts of yourself,
Including knowing that you don't know.
Yeah.
Which kind of diffuses spite sometimes.
yeah,
I mean,
definitely. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's the
Sorry.
feeling I get from your music is fuck the haters.
Haters
gonna hate.
That was that a preview? The preview new track?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Hate is Gonna Hate.
So you heard it here first.
Yeah, I just wrote it.
RTAF.
I wouldn't be mad at like a 2-hour podcast. You just
Beatboxing.
freestyle.
It would get boring after a while.
So do you have like daily rituals or practices?
I've been drinking a lot of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to like sit down like for a little while every day, especially in the morning, and like not like rush to go anywhere, and actually like sit like with my back straight and just like pour little cups of tea and just drink tea and be with my breath for a little while. And I've been trying to do that more, and that's been really good for me because I have a tendency to like wake up in a funk and have to like work my way through the day, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. And if you wake up in that funk and then you check emails right away and stuff,
Oh, fuck.
your day is wrecked.
I feel attacked.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, same. So are you drinking pu'er?
Yeah.
Yeah? Awesome.
Like,
What's
yeah,
that?
it's like aged large leaf tea from Western China. It's like fermented and tastes super earthy and feels really good to me. And it pretty much got me off of, I want to say, I'm going to guess maybe 18-year coffee habit.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just
Nice.
stopped drinking coffee?
Basically, it like took over. I wanted it more than coffee pretty soon
Right.
after I started drinking it every day. I'd had it before plenty of times and I liked
Sure.
it, but you know, every time I tried to like replace coffee with something, I felt like it had to be something like you know, with a kick. You know, I'd like try yerba mate and guayusa and you know, guarana and all these things, and they're great, but I'd always just still want coffee. There's something about that tea that it's just so like soothing and centering, while it also has like enough caffeine in it to like keep me from, you know, like going into like coffee withdrawal or something.
Yeah.
And that actually, like, it felt so therapeutic. When I started drinking it regularly, I stopped wanting the kick that the coffee gave. And now I drink coffee maybe like once a week.
Yeah.
And then you really get some nice benefit out of that.
Yeah. So what's the buzz like? If you want to talk about pu'er,
I mean,
a little bit,
yeah,
because
it's
I find
definitely
it interesting.
It's caffeine related. I mean, caffeine has a lot to do with it, but I mean, so it's a stimulant. It like, you know, feels a little bit like coffee and stuff, but it's not as anxious. It doesn't like make your heart race in the same way. If you were really sensitive to caffeine, it might, but also there's just other aspects to the tea that maybe I don't know a ton about, but that make it feel different in a lot of ways. So even with like coffee, caffeine isn't the only thing that's affecting the way that you feel or the way that your body responds to it. There's like oils that have like an effect on your cardiovascular system that are in coffee that might like make your heart race, even if you're drinking decaf. or something. And that all of that has such like a pharmacopoeia in each plant, you know, so many interacting parts. But tea kind of has this other thing going for it where it pairs caffeine with other chemicals like L-theanine and some other things that I just don't know enough about that actively calm your system down, calm your nervous system. And like in that way, like the caffeine can do its job better. You don't crash as hard. Like you can, it's like more gentle and like, which the thing you learn hopefully after a while being just like a self-motivated artist is that your productivity overall has so much to do with momentum. Even though we're tempted to think that we need to like create like an explosive moment and get it all done all at once. That can happen sometimes, but if that happened all the time, it'd be a short life, you know?
Yeah, you're gonna be fucking running ragging at the end of that.
Yeah, you'd be manic.
Yeah,
you'd have to be manic,
and it would show in your art too. That's, if I listen to music from like the more that I go back, like into like going back into the black hole of like starting out, you know, through my teenage years and everything, the further I go back, just the more fucking like manic and unhinged and like the more like in my face it is, the more like you know, unsubtle you know, the more and there's some of the best parts of the creative process require me, I think, to be like in a focused and calm place for a relatively long period of time.
Yeah.
And I've definitely found some benefit from tea for that, because I can just keep, like with loose leaf tea that gets re-steeped over and over again, get, you know, little bits of it consistently throughout the day while I'm working, instead of like, you know, drink a latte, get manic for an hour. Crash. But I love coffee. I mean, there's a reason I drank it for 18 years. If I drink it every day, it stops working really fast.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, that's something interesting watching as you get older, your relationship to energy and what is energy. You know?
Oh man.
It's like, you know, I used to always want to get jacked up. Like I want a few cups of coffee or like an Adderall.
Or both.
Like,
and then, you know, on top of that, you like, you know, I don't know, need to like, I don't know, like think like, you know, like fast all day, but like, you know, drink like energy drinks or something, like because you start coming down like 4 hours later or whatever. And
then you can't pump the brakes at night when you need to go to sleep.
It's 3 a.m. and you're still like, you can't even focus anymore, but you can't stop either.
Right.
There's also this thing to having that relationship with needing an energizing substance to create work, is that you're actually I think it fucks with your belief in yourself. There's an infinite well of energy that dwells inside of you, and if you think that you need some external thing to imbibe in order to tap into that creative potential, you don't give yourself the worth that you are this infinite source of creative energy, and then you can tap into that, and that's the real shit, man.
I'm with you, man.
Very healthy.
Well put.
I'm with you. I mean, I think that there's just this subtle reinforcement of the idea that you don't have what it takes. And I don't think that that's the only reason why anybody would ever, you know, like, you know, say drink coffee, which is, you know, like still fits what we're talking about, but it certainly is a reason why people drink coffee, and including a reason why I've drank coffee plenty of times. And also just something that, you know, if you feel that you don't, you know, have it in you to do what you need to do unless you like push that particular button, then you're definitely handicapping yourself to some degree. You know, and at the same time, there's all kinds of reasons why people use all kinds of things.
I know.
You know?
Well, it's like I said that thing, but I drink coffee all the time.
Sure. Oh, man. I mean, at the end of the day, the single greatest feeling of euphoria you can have in a human body is like being at peak health, standing in sunshine.
It's the best.
That's, you can't really get higher than that.
It's true.
You know, it's true. But, you know, there's it's a big world out there.
Yeah.
It's cool, just tapping into the subtleties of your body and your mind, and appreciating those, and how high you can get off of this subtle, amazing feeling of being this confident, powerful, awake, alive, meat-bodied being. It's different than like it's different than like tripping your balls off and having MDMA and like being ecstatic and in this crazy heightened state.
Yeah.
And it's like
I have no idea what that's like.
like
Kids call that candy flipping, I think.
I believe they call that reefer.
Have you guys ever taken like a complete?
Call that reefer.
I believe they call that the Mexican devil weed. Makes your eyes fall out.
That's what I've heard it called both things. So, well, I don't want to get into semantics too much, but have you guys ever taken a long break off of all substances? Because I've been thinking about that recently.
Well, okay, so all
okay. Let's not split hairs, but things that change your conscious state of mind.
You mean like food?
That's not food.
Oh, so mushrooms don't count.
All right.
That's
Next
a
question.
That's a tricky little loophole there.
But you know what I mean. Caffeine, ganj, psychedelics, whatever you need to shove up your butt to get you going in the morning.
Oh, this is a pretty personal question.
It is
Coffee
now.
enemas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do coffee enemas count? I mean, no, I've never done that actually.
I don't think I have either. Like completely.
What's it like?
I don't know.
Paint us a picture here.
I would imagine.
I don't. I haven't. Oh, you have
this guy.
No, I haven't. But
Yeah, none of us have.
I would imagine you'd get
That's what I was
crazy.
trying to ask. Is like if anyone has
There's
been there.
got to be a caffeine rush involved.
Yeah, for sure.
There must be.
Because you'd absorb it immediately into your blood system.
Yeah.
That's why people put drugs in their butt.
That must be why people do that.
Maybe I should start butt chugging my coffee in the morning.
Yeah, people getting such this like intense.
It's like a keg stand, but different.
And then they're like, "Oh, I feel so detoxed."
And then they tell everyone that will listen
how good they felt.
Yeah, how awesome it is and how they should do it. And
but that's
that their
not
friend
drugs.
has a
coffee isn't drugs.
A spot on Pearl Street that you can go get coffee enemas at. Sorry, I just went tangential there. But have you guys seriously ever not had caffeine?
Clarity
nicotine?
is awesome.
Yeah. For a long period of time.
I mean, man, like this.
A few days.
Yeah.
Even?
What is? Like sure. I mean,
5-6 hours.
I think the longest break from caffeine that I've ever taken, since maybe middle school is maybe 10 days.
Damn. It's pretty
middle
good.
school.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't even.
There was always
taste
coffee in the
coffee.
kitchen. I mean,
Wait, you drank coffee in middle school?
Oh yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like I never saw my parents drunk. I never saw my parents use tobacco. And neither of those things are like appealing to me whatsoever.
Right.
Still never been drunk. But like,
Really?
Nice.
yeah. But like coffee, ooh.
Huh.
Like, if I start drinking it, I can't stop.
Wow, you've never been drunk.
I mean, I've
interesting.
been like, like a little
buzzed.
A little buzzed, yeah.
That's cool, man.
Like go to sleep with a glass of wine, but
Yeah. I respect that.
which I still don't actually really like to do, honestly, because I wake up slow the next day. It's fucking not good. I mean, but yeah, I mean, different meds for different peeps. So.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
It's cool. You sound pretty tapped into the way you feel. Which is actually a surprisingly rare thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend so much of our energy like on, the proverbial we,
The royal we.
the royal we, just trying to like detach from what we feel, because so much of what people feel in life is so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you, is that a weird feeling that when you're not drinking and you're in an environment where a lot of people are drunk?
It's actually really reinforcing to me, because people who are drunk usually aren't behaving in ways that I would want to.
Yeah, it's very unattractive unless you're drunk too and you
Right.
don't notice it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That is a thing. I mean, I'm not trying to be a snob either. I mean, it's not like I've never gotten like swept off my feet before in one way or another in life and made a fool of myself.
Yeah.
Certainly. Just that, you know, I don't need another reason to do that.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting how it's like it's the culturally accepted,
Sanctioned.
Oh, yeah.
sanctioned way.
And
to
it's the
get
most
altered.
dangerous.
It's literally the worst, most dangerous drug you could like out of the ones that aren't going to like outright kill you when you try them or whatever.
Right.
Like, you know, it's, I mean, although it may,
Yeah,
Yeah,
If you drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels, man,
you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can just go buy that at the store. So like, you know, meanwhile they're like trying to regulate how much weed you can smoke or whatever. But, you know, nobody has, you know the story. Ain't nobody never died from smoking too much.
Turn this into a MAPS rally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you work for MAPS?
I
Interned?
I interned
Okay.
for a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
no
I mean,
way.
it was 20 years old and,
Should we explain what MAPS is? For
Yeah,
just
probably. Yeah.
the
Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
A beacon of light in our community, and really soon to be the world, I'm sure, once this gospel spreads.
Oh man, I mean, they're making the news left and right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And for good reason. I mean, you know, a cure for PTSD is, you know,
Is enough.
that's enough to justify so much,
Right.
honestly, but like there's so much more to it than that.
Totally.
And that alone is a complete refutation of like everything that like our like drug laws that exist in this country and in the world say about the substances in question that are you know being explored for their therapeutic benefit, because I mean a lot of those laws hinge on the notion that there's no medical benefit for the substances that are banned.
Right. Otherwise, they don't have any footing to stand on, really.
Basically, yeah.
And if you look at drug laws, they're mostly made up out of thin air in order to serve the purpose of targeting groups or individuals that the lawmakers themselves don't like. Like
But-
if you look at psychedelics, for a while it was legal, like completely legal for like 10 years or so, something like
But
that.
it got associated with the anti-war movement.
Hippies.
Yeah.
And so
they wanted a way to silence the anti-war protesters.
And-
I mean, that's the same reason why they
With-
flood the ghettos with crack, man,
yeah.
so
I
that
was
they
gonna
can
talk
just
about
arrest
that.
whoever they want, plant whatever they want on whoever they want, and pin whatever they want, justify
Yeah.
putting whoever they want away.
And the crack laws are so much more harsh than the cocaine laws.
It's the same drug.
But cocaine is it costs more. So
Used
if
by
you
rich
have
people.
money,
Yeah.
It's the
you can buy
bougie
cocaine.
version.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's funny too is the war on drugs, how much PTSD that created, and then MDMA, a Schedule I drug, is the thing that's going to heal
Yeah,
the pain.
yeah,
At least, you know, PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about, you know, a substance combined with psychotherapy outright, like ridding more than half of the people who try it of their post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms, when like the next best relief available to people is, you know, you are one of the lucky ones if it works at all.
right, yeah.
So it's a no-brainer, honestly.
And that plays into also, I mean, the alternative is like psychiatric meds that you have to take every day.
That don't, don't even
And
cure
just
you.
And like just like we were talking with sacrificing your power to stimulants to do work, it's like MDMA assisted therapy. It shows you your own strength and power, and you don't
Exactly.
need to take it every day.
It actually sets you
liberates
free.
you. Yeah.
Right. That's in fact the problem. I mean, when it comes to you know, getting these things into the mainstream, when it's such a profitable industry to make people rely on the continuous use of maintenance doses of strange chemicals that they can only get from the pharmacy.
And it also props up the prison industrial complex, as we were talking about.
Oh
just a
man, we're
second
going
ago.
deep. We're going deep.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you know that the first car was made out of hemp?
No
Oh yeah, I heard about that. The body was
Really?
made out of hemp.
Yeah. All the like plastic in hemp plastic. Yeah, in the first Model T, the first Ford car, and it ran on hemp.
Fuck yeah.
Ran on hemp.
Oh, and there was another thing I heard. Now, I don't 100% know the validity of this, but apparently they used to feed livestock, cows and pigs. They would feed them hemp,
And they were so happy.
And so they had
tasted better.
they were eating CBD. So in the food supply was CBD, and then that got eliminated from our diet, and then that's why CBD is now this miracle cure for all these ailments.
Because we used to have it all the time.
Yeah. We have these natural cannabinoid
That's
receptors. Makes sense, but
we have a
Sounds
whole
true.
system in our bodies for receiving the chemicals that the cannabis plant makes, and
Yeah.
you might in fact be deficient if if you're not interacting with the right plants. Although I have known people who are like allergic to
Yeah, sure.
but I mean, you can be allergic to a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, so what were you doing at MAPS?
Oh, nothing special, really. Just helping out. I mean, like I ran errands for them, and I like installed a doorknob in the office, and posted like articles on their Facebook page for a few weeks there. It was doing that.
It's really fun to be a part of that, though. That's
But
cool.
yeah, what really mattered at that point was I was in some tiny way contributing to something I believed in, meeting people who were doing the thing, and that was right before I really started touring, playing music and stuff. So,
Nice.
Which was ultimately what, like whisked me away from that whole situation. But I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of those people. And whenever I go to Santa Cruz, I like to drop into the office and just say hi and see who's doing the thing there. And
So you were living in California?
yeah, just for a few months while I was doing that.
Where are you from?
Virginia.
Cool.
Oh yeah. So this just popped in my head because you have a really awesome show coming up at that planetarium.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the Science Museum of Virginia.
Yeah. When is that?
In Richmond. It's the 27th and 28th of September. I'm playing on the 27th. It's a up-tempo night on the 27th, and then down-tempo on the 28th.
Nice.
Kalia Scintilla is headlining. Quali is also playing on the same night that I'm playing. And that's gonna be awesome.
Our boy Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get one in with him pretty soon.
Oh, good.
After the burn.
Oh, good. He'll have lots to say after that.
So
He'll be like, it's dusty out there.
Did you start producing music when you lived in Virginia and then moved because of it, or?
I mean, that had to do with it for sure. There's a lot of reasons, but largely, I mean, it wasn't the right place for me to pursue a career making the kind of music that I make.
Sure.
And it still isn't, but it's really awesome to see how like people are making a scene out there now. People are like going back to like Richmond, for example, when I lived around there, like not in Richmond, but near it, there, I had no idea where to find my niche. And now I look at what's going on over there, and there are just people like putting together events with like the kind of music and the kind of art that I'm all about. And it's like, where were you guys when I lived there? But on the other hand, I'm kind of glad that like, first off, that somebody's doing that, and that gives me, like this, connection back to my old stomping grounds in a way, but also that I didn't stay where I grew up. Because
that's important.
Yeah, because there was so much growing up that had to happen in order to like, just like be a self-employed independent artist traveling by myself without an anchor point for so long. And I mean, in order to have that experience, I had to be dissatisfied with where I grew up.
Yeah.
So there's something, there's a lesson in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It plays into like the hero's journey,
Oh yeah.
You leave home to discover something, and then you become part of a movement that then influences the culture. And you get to come back to your home and participate.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a beautiful.
Oh yeah, the
thing.
hero's journey is not complete until it comes full circle. That's
right.
for sure.
That return home aspect is one I've been.
And we paint it like a
out.
circle, but it's really such a spiraling, continuous thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just keeps happening. Yeah.
Do you have any big goals or big ideas for what you could do with your music?
Oh man, some of those I'm like almost scared to divulge.
Yeah, because if you say
someone
it,
could snatch it up.
Okay. There's like a
with
few
more means. Or something.
Or just could do it before I have the chance or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, there's just, what to be vague. I definitely am interested to hear like more like harmonic colors in the like kind of electronic music that I'm involved in making, more not to say that there's nobody doing this, but just that there needs to be more of it, just more different tonalities, different tunings, different like kinds of harmony and stuff, different like I've been trying to like break out of kind of the like minor and major scales on like the piano notes thing that is like so straightforward and relatable, but also just like everywhere. But that's not really even to say much about. Okay, so here's something that one of the things that I feel like I'd like to experiment with, don't know when I'll get to do it, and wouldn't mind see. In fact, I feel like it's been done, and I wouldn't mind seeing a bunch of different people do it in different ways. Is making music using the overtone series of like the natural harmonic overtone series of a root frequency that would be like the main like bass frequency of a song, but making the entire piece of music like retunable, like intentionally composing it to be retunable to like any like room, any space where you can like go find the resonant frequency of the room that you're going to play in before you play in it.
Ooh.
And actually like instead of doing like, I don't know if this is just like a terrible idea, but instead of doing what people normally do to like kind of level out the sound levels across like different keys of music being played in a room, people like tend to like sound engineers will suppress the resonant frequencies of the room so that they don't unintentionally like resonate the space. Spike when you happen to hit those frequencies or something, so that things can stay relatively level even when you're changing frequencies in your music and those frequencies are interacting with the geometry of the space you're in. But if instead you were planning on resonating the space, if everything in like a piece of music was what actually like geometrically related to the way that the air moved in that room, granted where the speakers are positioned or whatever, and having that figured out.
So you're like playing the room as an instrument.
Completely. This isn't, again, to be clear, something that I'm actively doing right now. It's just one of the ideas that's like kind of lofty that I wouldn't mind sharing, and hopefully somebody does take that and run with it.
It's a really interesting
idea. What's up. Cool. Yeah, you'd have to mix things a little differently too, because again, you wouldn't be going for like an even like sonic landscape across different keys. You would be like focusing on one resonant frequency, and you'd be intentionally creating resonance. And so like the whole like the way you'd engineer that sound would be different, because you'd want like room reverb. You'd be going for that, but you also wouldn't want to make people's ears bleed either. Yeah. Obviously.
It's cool.
How would you calculate feedback into that equation?
Oh, right. Well, at that point, you'd maybe not be using a microphone for one. And that would be a major source of feedback if you were getting like build up resonance in a room,
and you had your talkback mic or something.
Sure. Yeah. That might, but
you usually plug just kind of directly in, right?
Yeah. Depending on what I'm doing, but if I'm not going to be like playing the talk box or singing or anything like that, I'm probably not going to use a mic. And I don't like to just like chat on the mic when, but that we talked about that, right?
Throw your hands up.
Yeah. Hey, yo. Because a lot of the time it's like, I'd rather your eyes were closed, man, because it's like, that's maybe just a crude way of saying like, it'd be better to be like listening to music than like putting any kind of like special like value on like what I do or say, you know?
Totally.
No, that's a good idea. You've heard of silent discos, but what about a blind disco?
Blind disco. There are artists who like prefer to play in the dark. Right? They do exist. But yeah, I mean, totally pitch black. You know, actually, there's a friend of mine, Tammy Beatty, recently did like a year ago or something, like a blindfold party, like a blindfold ecstatic dance in Boulder.
Wow, that's interesting.
It was at the Integral Center, which they just fucking demolished.
Just,
like
what happened?
Do
you know
what the
Integral?
I guess I don't know. I guess they couldn't pay for it, or they got bought out or something. But
Boulder's expensive.
I got a lot of memories in that spot.
Yeah,
but I did happen to be lucky enough to notice the demolition was happening while it was happening, and run over there with a microphone, get one of the brick walls coming down.
Damn.
Which I haven't used yet, but I will.
Yeah, that's cool that you let actual sounds from life influence your process and the songs that are made. Like, I love your sound palette. I really do. Like birds and chirping and nature sounds and
sometimes clips of like you, and I could tell it's like you and your friends talking shit or something.
Sometimes, or even like sometimes I happen to be lucky enough to be running the microphone when something really personally significant happens, and then somehow like having a little piece of that being replayed through my headphones while I'm working on a song will like cause me to take the song in a certain direction. Or I mean, every recording is a memory, and we were talking about that whole idea of like creating associations between like different points in time, kind of like building that like memory web that the music is like, it's that the music grows from. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it. Certainly a way to describe it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Do you walk around? You said you have a Zoom recorder.
I have a Tascam, but it's similar in a lot of ways. Just with two little condenser mics on the top of it that can be like pointed either across each other or away from each other. So it records in stereo. So it does,
rad.
you know, when you put on headphones, make you feel a little bit like you're there with your ears pointed in the direction the mics are pointed. And so I mean, I fell in love with those things the very first time that a friend of mine, as we were working on music in a studio, said like, hey, let's take this microphone out into the woods and record some stuff and then come back. And I'm like, yes. Spent all day just like drumming with sticks and like dropping rocks on bigger rocks and chasing down birds to try to get like a clean recording of them singing.
That's almost like your version of the sketchbook.
Oh, what is that? Tell me about this.
Well, artists.
I thought you're like I heard that like as a proper noun. Like,
oh no. It's like,
sketchbook,
you know,
like the notebook.
I always have a sketchbook in my backpack. You know, everywhere I go, you jot down an idea or maybe something, and that's like
especially if you're using it like, you know, I definitely will like beatbox ideas into the mic when I'm just like, you know, not at the, you know, if I have something in my head like, oh, what if it went like boom 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 boom, and then just that, and then that could be, I don't know, that could turn into just completely replace, you know, not use that recording at all in a production, but then like oh, you know, fit, you know, if I had something like that stuck in my head at some point walking down the street, I could preserve like at least the notion of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time when I'm actually like gathering sounds, those things do end up actually inside productions, and everything could be really strange combinations of like, you know, like rattling the keys in your pocket percussively, like mixed with like the brakes on a bus that passed you while you were walking down the road, mixed with you know, a bird call that slowed down 2 octaves with like a opening filter on it, mixed with the waitress that was slapping the table with the washcloth that one time when you were at the restaurant, mixed with a camera shutter click, mixed with, you know, and that could all just be one sound, you know. So many possibilities. I mean, a lot of the time it gets really exciting for me when I can like partly like dimly parse out where like all the sounds are coming from, or like what things quote unquote are, but not so much that it distracts me from just listening to it as sound. And I mean, that's always been a big part of, like, for me, just like of the joy of listening to the music is a big part of it has just been sound and the way that it, you know, the way that it feels to hear something and not have it mean anything other than just like how it sounds, like how it feels how it feels to hear that sound. And that and it's one of the reasons I love synthesizers too, like just as much as, you know, gathering acoustic recorded sounds, is because you don't have that like same association. Most of the time it's a sound, you know. But we're surrounded by waves all the time, waves constantly. You can't find a silent moment or a silent place. You'd have to go to outer space.
That's true. That's interesting, that idea of like weaving this tapestries of the sounds of the world, and then the music becomes like this reflection of life itself.
Music is not different from life.
Yeah.
I believe Herbie Hancock said that.
Nice.
I believe he wasn't the first.
Would you have maybe some words of advice for younger music producers out there?
I mean, obligatorily, I just like have to say, like, make what you want to hear, not what you would think other people want to hear.
Yeah.
Completely, because there's, you know, some strange like confluence of factors, some exotic chemistry that is you know, and you have the opportunity to represent what you think is awesome. So like that you should do that. And there's always, you know, like a million people following whatever trend is happening at the time, and all those trends are there for a reason and are there to be learned from, and there's a reason why people like certain things. But like, you know, you get the chance to explore what presses your buttons, and the better that you do that, the more convincing, the more compelling it becomes in the end, I think. So
and the sound becomes timeless. You know, there's you know, look at like progressive house music. It's like so much of it gets lost to time, but then there's certain homies that make some stuff that is just always going to be great.
Yeah.
And people can say what they want, but you know, like Dead Mouse and Strobe, like that is that motherfucker. That song, at least for me, will always be amazing. Like, you know, you take like maybe like a genre of music, but then you really put this like unique stamp on it. Your translation of, I don't know what it sounds like to you, and not being like everybody else.
Right.
There's, I think, a part of probably all of us that's sensitive to, on some level, like the difference between things that are like just authentic expressions of themselves and things that are imitations of things. But there's a little bit of both in everything, and also not everybody even cares.
Yeah.
However, do you care?
Yeah, that's
as an artist.
Yeah.
That's the question we revisit every day, hopefully.
Do you ever have waning interest in music, or, you know?
There are days that I have, you know, more of an inclination to like listen or to write than other days. But you know, I don't like have another job, and I don't have, you know, another, like I'd say anywhere near as developed anyway of an outlet for like what I experience in life, what I think and what I go through. I mean, I can like post about things on the internet, but that's just like not as enriching to me, even though it may in fact be important that we all talk on the internet. It may in fact be important.
It certainly is to an extent. Yeah.
But there's something about the feeling of having something come through in the music, having something compelling happen that cannot be replaced for me. So even though I'm more like motivated on some days than others, I'm always glad when I make music. And getting started can be hard, but stopping can be just as hard. And you do have to take breaks, you know that. I mean, you're asking me about like rituals, earlier, and I just like talked about tea, but like a lot of the time, if I'm not feeling it, just like long walks are so important. It's so good being here in Boulder and being able to just walk into the mountains from my house,
Yeah. That's what I was going to mention too, is the walks in nature. It's like a full reset.
Yeah. Bathing your whole system, like just, completely, like, I don't know, electromagnetically cleansing you or something. I don't know exactly what's going on, but
and even
it's big.
Like the harmonious nature of nature, and how it's this like network, and I don't know, especially like plants. How I forget what that documentary was, where it was saying that trees will know where there's a tree not doing well, and they'll like divert resources to
nutrients,
and that balancing nature of being in nature is
there's something about being exclusively within the realm of human designed, like, alternate reality for humans, which is what cities are and stuff, that makes you kind of retarded. And maybe that's a crass word to use, but I mean, it makes you like less aware of like how things inherently are, as opposed to like, how like maybe how you desire them, or how, I don't know, there's something about the way that we design the world for ourselves that just like makes us think as little as possible and like reflect as little as possible, and like and just like I mean, something about getting outside of that, something about like returning to something that is like meta too, like one order of being, like underneath, fundamental to the world that we've built for ourselves, that it's just so important, so refreshing, and like reminds us of so many possibilities of like what we can be and what we can do with life, and where our values can be, that we can be just so blind to when we're stuck in this like tunnel vision rat maze.
Yeah, I find it interesting how that refreshing quality of being in nature, but then simultaneously human civilization, human beings are born of the earth, and in some way what human beings are doing is natural, but that we have to pull ourselves away from it to refresh and get inspiration. But then we have this calling to bring it to this thing that we see as kind of sick and flawed, and through our own creativity is like, can we work together to create this harmony point to where no matter where you are, there's a balance? Or is it's strange.
I believe that if there is a future for us, then the line between what's natural and quote unquote artificial is probably going to get blurrier. And I'm looking forward to rainforest cities, jungle cities. I'm looking forward to that, where everything is like orchestrated to be in balance, as opposed to this like constant like friction of forces against forces, instead of like, taking the momentum of like just the world doing its thing and using it to like building on it instead of against it, because I mean, that's just being separate from like what we perceive as nature, like as opposed to the human world and everything's like definitely dissociates people from the reality of like the repercussions of the lifestyles that we live, and well,
you kind of hope in a way it's like we lived in tribes and really connected to the earth, to the ground, and then as civilization built, we got so far from that. And then I think what is encouraging in a way is how popular and how normal it is for so many people to be artists and musicians now, and how cannabis is being legalized and psychedelics are, and maybe we've seen an error in our ways, and now culture is starting to go back to that sort of nuanced, meaningful,
connected life.
It does feel like things are changing for the better in a lot of ways. In certain ways, definitely. I mean, there are things about the distant past that I hope we never go back to, you know, that's
certainly
just like lawless murderousness and, you know, all the stuff, all that stuff that we don't need anymore. Hopefully. I mean, but we still have that stuff with us today in the so-called civilized world, unfortunately. And that's, oh man, whole can of worms.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you can see it reflected in yourself, you know, like you're a flawed being that, and you go through these waves of inspiration and a lot of creativity and connection. And then before you know it, you might start feeling fragmented again and chaotic and not as connected. Yeah. But then again, the wave comes back again, and maybe humanity as a collective does that on a larger scale of time.
I think it does. I think it's breathing, metabolism kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, natural for flawed things to exist, for things to be sick, or for things to, you know, need fixing. And it's also natural for things to get fixed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just all part of the thing. The big old thing. Part of the big old thing.
So are you going to be staying in Colorado for a while? You've been here for how long? Like, I know you've been in and out a bunch.
Right, I've been in and out since maybe 2012, really. But I've kind of, I'd say, considered it like home base or like center. Probably, I mean, for the better part of the past 6 years or so, I'd say. But hey, it feels like home. It always feels like, like coming back to center when I come here. I mean, even like tried to live in Hawaii on the island of Maui for a little bit and came back to Colorado and was like, that's how you know.
Yeah.
Just go to paradise. And if you come back home and it feels like paradise, then maybe you found the right spot.
Yeah.
But there are other places I like a lot. I mean, I have thoughts about, you know, like temporarily like relocating to like the Pacific Northwest or, you know, or like just, you know, picking up and traveling again for a while. I don't know how long I'll have that urge, you know, before that just purely becomes like work. I don't know. Hopefully that never happens, but, I like Colorado a lot. It feels right to me. Like, I like the altitude. I like the air. I like it being dry. I grew up on the East Coast. It's like being
humid as
hell.
Sticky.
Oh man. I used to think the world was like that.
Yeah.
I used to think it had to be that way.
Yeah.
But I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way.
All you people in humid climates, just know there are other places.
Oh man, it's not even just humid. It's like this sticky,
swampy.
Inescapable, even if you find shade.
Have you ever taken off from like a city in the southeast on a humid like summer day and noticed the moment when the plane goes above the layer of humidity? Oh, it's like it goes from this like pale, just like suffocating blanket of nastiness, and you just like break into this navy blue and or whatever it is.
You should make a song about that.
Oh man, how do you know I haven't?
I think there's also something too in Colorado about being around gigantic mountains. That's very grounding.
Ooh, yeah, and humbling, but also like oddly empowering.
Yeah,
majestic.
And you can climb those fuckers. You know?
Just staring at them like a couple hours ago, thinking, "Oh man, I went up there last week. Cool.
Yeah,
I was with you."
Oh yeah, you did. Right. Yeah.
Where'd you guys go?
NCAR.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Went up the Mallory Cave Trail.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was the first time we ever hung out.
I think so. Yeah, unless we. Yeah.
I think we've been maybe around each other.
Probably,
maybe said hello. Yeah. That was the first time we actually spent some time.
Hey, what's up, man?
And that's a cool, I think, thing to share with people is, I've found, especially out here, because it's a thing to do is to go outside and spend time in the mountains. The way you connect with people walking outside, like in nature, like find some trails to go on with somebody you dig. Maybe be like, hey, you want to go for a hike? There's no better way to meet somebody and connect with them.
I've been trying to do that like a few times a week, and usually only getting like one in a week, but just like trying to get some homie or another who's nearby and be like, hey, walking time. Like,
yeah.
But, you know,
there's something about conversation coupled with motion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This feeling of like constant like progress toward a certain, you know, like, I don't know. It's like, it's not even like about it being good for you, but it sure is.
Yeah. It's almost like this added secondary thing.
Yeah.
It's more like you're going through this minor ordeal with another human.
Mm-hmm. And especially like that mountain hiking where we like start below the foothills and like we'll work up to what could properly be called mountains. Mm-hmm. This whole like push against gravity that happens is so, I don't know, it feels so like, it feels cathartic to me. It feels like it fills me with energy. It like forces the energy to come out of me, like dormant energy gets used. Like makes my blood pump. It makes me feel like I'm getting closer to the sky because I am. And then whenever I do that and come back down to earth, like feel like I can do anything.
Charged up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Exercise is good.
One of those things I feel like I could
not
do is
news,
but
but it is something that worth repeating. It's like find enjoyable ways to move your body, like whatever resonates with you. It's very empowering.
Dancing's pretty cool.
Dancing's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it interesting? Like you like actually like vibrating your body, like back and forth vibrations, like patterns that actually are resonant with the frequency of the music that you're dancing to.
It's wild.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
You're almost like
pretty cool thing.
You're
become
like
a tuning fork.
Yeah. You're like sacrificing yourself for something else to come through.
And shows are so much better when people are either focused on dancing or actually focused on the music. I think there's some kind of resonance. This is not scientific at all, but some kind of resonance that happens between people just being like in the groove, paying attention to the music, as opposed to, which I'm guilty of this for sure, just networking and talking to people at the show. I
would be inclined to agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there's something really powerful that happens when attention gets like focused in a direction and people are able to genuinely share a group experience. And that's something that it's not the only reason why music exists, but it seems like it's one of the really powerful things that music does.
Yeah.
That, you know, that is indispensable, that like if we like lose that, we're culturally dead, you know?
Sure.
And it's really powerful, man. Like just the thing that happens when, you know, the same like musical idea cuts through the noise to be experienced by a group of people simultaneously. It's a fundamentally bonding experience. And it you know, it connects people, like quite literally connects people. Yeah,
it's a lot like hiking in that way.
Oh yeah.
We're pointed at the same intention or goal, and we're climbing. The DJ is taking us ever higher.
You know,
or not.
Or they're telling you to throw your hands up.
And it just occurred to me, like, you know, there's something when you're playing music for a crowd of people, like you might be doing something a little heavier, and there might be some more responsibility there than you realize. It's who are you?
Damn.
What
Same
are
with
you,
paintings.
You know what I mean? How are you paying attention? Because you are creating something that's resonating at a certain frequency that this group of people are losing their own personalities to and resonating with.
Yeah.
So like if there's pain or there's deceit or lies somewhere in the way that you are pumping this music into these beings, they're getting a hit of that. So
it's so tricky too, because sometimes that all that shadow stuff is actually really cathartic coming through music. And in some ways it's honestly, it's like that like what you're describing becomes exponentially more of a problem, in my opinion, when like there's like a degree of posturing going on where it's where the shadow stuff isn't being recognized as the shadow stuff.
Exactly.
And then it's just recognized as the thing, like, fuck yeah, or whatever.
Or like, you know, if like somebody's, I don't know, just like, I don't know, like keen on being a little bit more pure than they really are.
Yeah.
And they can't, you know, then the shadow stuff will come out in like probably more harmful ways than if, you know, it becomes like an acknowledged, like, direct like part of like what's intentionally part of, I mean it's, but I didn't mean to actually like to go off on a whole tangent there, because I mean like what you're saying, like just that like there is a big responsibility there every time you're like putting like feeding an experience into people's reality. And that will affect, you know, that person, those people, and all the people that they touch. And but the thing is, that's going to happen. People are going to do that. Yeah. There's going to be people making music that's going to be affecting people. There's going to be people making art that's going to be affecting people, telling jokes that are going to be affecting people, making movies that are going to affect people and change the way fundamentally that they think about the world.
Exactly.
So isn't it prudent that, you know, like if you have any kind of thing to say that, you know, like if you have anything to add to that conversation and you have a way to do it like authentically and in a way that feels like meaningful and like genuine and even like cathartic to you, that you should do that, because you're like tipping the scales a little bit in favor of like, you know, of like the authentic, validated human experience being like what is valued. You know?
And you might be that 0.1% that tips the scales into the direction of love rather than hate and self-destruction.
Whatever it is. Yeah. Whatever it is. It's hard to say what it is. But yeah, there's some kind of, I don't know, what would you call it? Like I don't even know what to call it. I don't know, for lack of a better word, like there's some kind of like spirit battle going on, you know, when it comes to like the different reasons why people like make art and like project it into people's consciousness and everything. And there's like all kinds of reasons why people could do that, you know. But you know, it's funny because like a lot of the like maybe the reasons why people do that may sound like less savory on the surface if we were to like be sitting here judging people's reasons for making art, right? A lot of those things are things that resonate really heavily with large numbers of people. So in a weird kind of way, people are actually like working through some of the shittier parts of human life at this point in time and space, like by having the wrong motivations for making art. But at the same time, when you're aware of that, you do have like a certain level of, I don't know, like you should be accountable to yourself, you know?
It's very insightful. Yeah, just to realize that, everybody's working through something.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, maybe somebody's creating something that is, you've already kind of integrated whatever that is and you've moved on. But that's not to say that other people don't still have to be working through this level of awareness or
all
type
different
of expression.
stages.
Yeah.
It's not even linear.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I mean, I think every single human has both those sides, and probably more that we can't even really word.
I think it's really unhealthy to deny that.
Right. Yeah. And you just, you got a split basically in your psyche or your heart or whatever you want to call it, that, if you're just working through something, you might not even know it. And it might actually be healthy in the end, like in the bigger picture.
Sure. Yeah. All one grand orchestra unfolding. At the end of the day.
The orchestra of God. So,
Agnus Dei.
Wait, what did you just say there?
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know.
It sounded like some sort of Gregorian chant or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you got any stuff coming up?
Yeah, when's your next gig?
Resonance Festival.
Oh, nice.
In Pennsylvania. It's the week before. It's the autumn equinox. It's like the 19th to the 22nd of September.
Mm-hmm.
It's the week before the Richmond Science Museum thing we were talking about. And I'm really excited about that. I'm playing 3 sets. I don't know exactly when yet, but I think they'll all be pretty different. Maybe even like use different instruments, different play different styles of music for each one. Just try to switch it up. Tipper and Papadosio are headlining pretty much, and yeah, they're both amazing.
Sounds like a fun one.
Yeah, I've always wanted to make it out to that since I've seen it over the past couple years.
I recommend it.
I haven't been there.
Come on
yet.
out. Let's ride from Boulder.
Yeah. You're sure you're flying.
Take your moped out.
Yeah. Dumb and Dumber style.
I mean, on the reels though, road trip, like,
yeah, maybe. You're not flying, or do you have?
I mean, there's
things
options.
Arranged.
There's options.
Okay. Let me talk to my people.
Yeah, have your people call my people.
Okay, and then your people can call the resonance people, and then the resonance people can call
your people,
the state of Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll call me.
Oh man, I called the state of Pennsylvania one time.
Have you? Yeah. Don't you hate when you accidentally do that?
I actually did, like on purpose.
What happened?
Why?
Why?
Oh, it was because there was this festival out there that there was like this huge like breakout of like half the festival got incredibly sick.
Ooh.
Yeah, there were like multiple diagnoses coming out of that whole thing, and so many people got sick.
With what?
Man, there was like the norovirus issue,
What?
and there was like E. coli, and like
Ooh, damn.
and like people got giardia and stuff, and
What?
yeah, all
It's
at
not
this
what I
one
paid
festival
for.
in the same weekend.
Some dirty lettuce or something?
Had this really crazy moment where I was like, I thought it hadn't got me, right?
Yeah.
It hadn't got me. I was playing music, and there was a discrepancy between what time slots the stage manager had on his little guidebook there and what time slots the musicians had been given. So there was a little confusion about like start and end times and everything. And there was this one song that I really, really wanted to play.
Uh-huh.
It was like the one that I had like rehearsed a bunch that I knew was like specific for like that time and place. It like meant something about like a person who like is now dead, who like I like one of the last times we hung out was at this same property.
Mm-hmm.
And like just like there's so much personal like it was like a whole ceremony that needed to happen. It was like playing this song.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it at a time that I thought was like 15 minutes from the end. But it was actually like 2 minutes after what the stage manager thought the end was supposed to be, according to what the stage manager knew.
Uh-huh.
And there was I think the stage manager might have also got the bug or something, and he's pretty short tempered and actually like just like cut the sound like right in the climax in the middle of this song.
Just cut it
and
off.
It felt like going like 90 miles per hour and then just like slamming the brakes. And right at that moment it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I ran and just projectile vomited like just like felt like I was gonna die all of a sudden. Just everything had to it was very uncanny, the timing of like just like the failure to complete this like song that I had like up on this pedestal of like this song this night has to be, and then like nope, and then it's almost too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, that's.
I was
strange.
pretty convinced at that moment that it was completely just the song stopping,
that
until I was sick for the next few days. You know, then I knew it was something more, but they did seem oddly related.
Yeah. It was almost like the love of playing that, and the mission was overpowering whatever sickness was trying to come in there.
Probably.
I didn't feel a single negative thing other. I mean, like some intense emotions, but like around the song, but like didn't feel like I couldn't tell at all that there was anything wrong until the music stopped, and then it was all it just all wrong. I've had a few situations though where and I'm sure you'll hear other people tell you this, where just the act of playing music, like it doesn't maybe always work when you need it to, but has made me feel like 100% while I was doing it, even when I was sick, like immediately before and immediately after.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. Something kind of just takes over.
Adrenaline rush.
Something to do with that.
It's your
focus,
your overall purpose.
It
comes to the surface and takes the wheel. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, have you ever just like, been like, kind of like getting over a sickness or something, and like you're like having trouble moving or whatever, but then like you like say you have sex and you just like you're like 100%. Just you're just like you're doing what you're doing, and then 30 minutes later or whatever, depending on you, you're like 2 hours, can't bro. I'll go. Can't stand up again all of a sudden. You're like, how did that just happen? I don't know. Music is a lot like that. It's weird when it's good. It's happening. It's very encompassing, engaging. Don't really think about anything else while it's happening. But I mean, I think inspiration can do amazing things, and it comes in many forms.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's like maybe a cheesy hippie trope, but creativity is medicine.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's a cure-all. Yeah, in a sense.
I agree. I toe the party line there with you, boys. So yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up.
Wrap it on up.
So Resonance and then the Dome in Virginia.
Yeah, that's happening. Too. And then, there will be some other stuff after that. I'm going to do some, a lot of it's not announced yet, but some stuff in like Oregon and Northern California, probably in October.
Awesome.
And there's a show outside of Austin on November 9th with Solar Fields.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
And Somatoast also. And Solar Fields is like coming out from Switzerland, I think, just for this show.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Never seen. Solar Fields are dope.
Yeah, it's going to be special. Some like psychedelic down-tempo stuff of the lushest variety. And December 21st, Atlanta with Yaima.
Nice.
That'll be awesome too for, different but related reasons.
And then do you have, for people at home that want to listen to you, do you have a preferred way for them to listen to your music?
I'd say like that, the most important thing is that people have access to music they want to listen to when they want to listen to it. But as far as like the way that helps me out the most directly is probably Bandcamp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bandcamp is probably the most direct way to support like the music releases, like the music that comes out. I mean, like I do make money from streaming services and stuff, but if you know anything about that, it's not much, and I mean, although that is helpful, and if you want to just like get on Spotify and like turn on my channel and loop it forever while you sleep, I won't complain.
Yeah, everybody listening right now.
Yeah, if you got this far, loop Erothyme, Erothyme, on your Spotify.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna feel better.
You're gonna love it.
It brightens up your space.
Yeah.
Beautiful music, fun.
Gee, thanks, fellers.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Peace, guys.
All right. Check you later.
We love you. Love you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Artsy AF Podcast.
For additional images and notes on this episode, you can check out our website, artsyafpodcast.com.
And you can find me, Andrew Norris, at andrew.norris.arts on Instagram, and andrewnorrisarts.com is my website.
And you can find me, John Speaker. My website is johnspeaker.com. On Instagram, I'm at John Speaker, and on Facebook, John Speaker Art.
And we want to give a special thanks to Blair Speaker, John's lovely wife and creative director of the podcast. She also updates the website and does all the podcast notes. So thank you, Blair.
And we'd also like to thank Tyler Billman. He created the music for this podcast. You can find Tyler on SoundCloud and Instagram. His name is Get Billsman. That's GETBILLSMAN.
Thanks again for listening. Peace.
Thank you.